What's up, YouTube? This is the game 2 from that 4-round tournament on June 22nd. This is versus Terabox with a Charizard line. My opponent selects Tails, wins the dice roll, and elects to go first. So we're just getting set up here, drawing our first 7 cards, seeing if we have a basic, and we're about to be underway. Alright, opponent's going first. There's a fist bump. We got Fan Rotom on the active on my opponent's side, Monkey Dory on my side. Nest Ball. Searching the deck here, maybe doing a little bit of prize checking to see what's in the prizes. Let's see here. Alright, Nest Ball for Charmander. Uses Fan Rotom's Fan Call ability. Allows him to get 3 colorless Pokemon that are 100 HP or less. They're fan calling for, let's see, Hoot Hoot, Pidgey, and Noctowl. Alright, Pidgey and Hoot Hoot probably going on the bench, Noctowl going to the hand. Shuffling up the deck here. Alright. Attach Fire Energy to Fan Rotom in the active, and pass the turn to me. I draw for turn, I bench a second Monkey Dory, attach a Psychic and a TM Evo to my active Monkey, and then play Iono. We each shuffle our hand, put them at the bottom of the deck, and draw equal to our prize cards, so each of us gets 6 new cards. I play a Nest Ball here, grab a Ralts, looking through my deck, seeing what resources are still available, planning for the next turn. This turn, I'm looking ideally to use TM Evolution to get into 2 Kirlias. I Ultra Ball away a Psychic Energy and a TM Evo, and then I use the Evolution attack, discarding the TM to evolve the Ralts into 2 Kirlias on the bench, and now it's my opponent's turn. So this is a little bit of a scary matchup. Terabox can usually play the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon to try and take out an active, and there it is, Nest Ball for Wellspring Mask Ogerpon. But anyway, I was saying Wellspring Mask Ogerpon can knock out an active Pokemon as well as the bench Pokemon. In this case, they won't be able to knock out the Monkey Dory because it has 110 HP, but you know, if they were to boss up a Ralts or boss up a Kirlia, they could take out both Kirlias, and I'd be back in the Stone Age. My opponent plays an Iono. Each of us gets 6 new cards. Plays Area 0 Underdepth. It's a stadium that allows them to, as long as they have a Terra Pokemon in play, which the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon qualifies as, they can have up to 8 bench Pokemon instead of 5 bench Pokemon. Alright, opponent plays 2 Buddy Poffins, grabs 2 more Hoot Hoots. Plays a 3rd Buddy Poffin, fails that search. Attach an energy to Wellspring Mask, and Assault Landing for 70 damage onto my Monkey Dory. On this turn, I evolve into Gardevoir. I bench a Screamtail. I'm going to use, looks like I have an Arven in my hand. I'll use Arven to grab an Ultra Ball and a Bravery Charm. So my priority here is going to be taking out that Charmander. I do not want that evolving into a Charizard because Gardevoir is weak to Dark, and when that happens, well, if Charizard were to attack Gardevoir, it would be a one-hit KO, so that'd be pretty tough. I use Ultra Ball, discard, what, I'm thinking here, Ultra Ball discarding a Counter Catcher and a Psychic Energy to get a Shaman. Shaman's going to protect my bench, my benched non-EX Pokemon from any bench sniping attacks, so that Wellspring Mask Ogerpon can't take 2 prizes. I retreat the active Monkey Dory with 70 damage. I use Psychic Embrace and put 40 damage on my Screamtail, so Screamtail's Roaring Scream is doing 80 damage, which is enough to knock out the Charmander on their bench. So I take 1 prize. I am now 5 prizes to my opponent's 6 prizes. Alright, my opponent plays Professor's Research, discards their hand for 7 fresh cards. Alright, evolve Hoot Hoot on the bench into a Noctowl. Uses Jewel Seeker, is an ability that allows them to search for 2 trainer cards. They're going to grab a Night Stretcher and a Counter Catcher. So my opponent here could Counter Catcher up something that will be difficult for me to retreat, like the Shaman, for example. Alright. Counter Catcher the Shaman into the active. Retreat Fan Rotom, discarding an energy, and then promotes Wellspring Mask, attacks with Sob for 20 damage, and that locks my Shaman into the active spot. I attach Dark to my benched Munkidori. I'm going to Adrenabrain 30 damage from my other Munkidori that has the 70 damage on it. Put it on the Wellspring Mask. Kind of deciding here, yeah, putting it on the Wellspring Mask and passing my turn. My opponent draws their card. Plays Ultra Ball, discarding a Water Energy and an Area 0. Grabbing a Noctowl using Jewel Seeker. Evolves into Noctowl, uses Jewel Seeker to get an Ultra Ball and a Rare Candy. There it is. Ultra Ball is going to discard a Sparkling Crystal and a Blood Moon Ursaluna. Probably going to get a Pidgeot EX here to evolve that Pidgey, which is tough. Pidgeot EX has a great ability called Quick Search. Once during your turn, you can search for any card in your deck. So very powerful ability, very dangerous ability as well. Looking for the Pidgeot there. Happy to see the Sparkling Crystal gone. Kind of figuring out what was played here. Kind of organize it a little bit. Me looking through the discard pile. There's the Pidgeot EX Rare Candy Pidgeot. Uses Quick Search for a card. Grab a card, put it in their hand. And they choose to attack with Sob, continuing the retreat lock. On my turn, looking through my hand here, probably going to play that Iono. Not much I can do. Yep, play Iono, get whichever card they search for, put it on the bottom of the deck. Alright, they get 5, I get 5, they get 6. I play Earthen Vessel, discarding a Psychic Energy, grabbing a Dark and a Psychic. Alright, attach Dark to Munkidori, and I'll probably Adrenabrain 60 damage total using both Adrenabrains. I'm going to end up moving it to the Fan Rotom, because that is the only Pokemon on their side, aside from the Wellspring Mask, that can't evolve. So that damage is just going to stay there and kind of prepare it for a knockout on a future turn. If I put it on the Hoot Hoot, it could evolve into a Noctowl, and the Noctowl has 100 HP versus the 70 of the Hoot Hoot, so I would need to do, I would need to put even more damage on it. So my thought was put it on the Fan Rotom. That's the least likely to get any of the damage removed unless they Turo it up or something. Rare Candy Charizard on my opponent's turn, using the ability called Infernal Rain, allowing them to get up to 3 fire energies from their deck, attach it to their Pokemon any way they like. They choose to put one of them to the Charizard because it already had a fire. And this is where my Gardevoir is very much in danger. They use Boss's Orders onto my bench Gardevoir. They're going to probably retreat the Wellspring Mask here and then punch with Charizard for the knockout, taking 2 prizes. They will be at 4 prizes, I'll be at 5 prizes. Yep, retreat, promote, and Burning Darkness. Gardevoir goes down. I'm promoting the Screamtail here. Okay, so on this turn, I have a Night Stretcher, so I'm going to use Night Stretcher to get the Gardevoir back and evolve the Curly on the bench. Choosing what to Adrenabrain here. I think I'm going to take a knockout on the Fan Rotom. Yep, move 10 damage onto the Fan Rotom, knock it out. So now I am at 4 prizes. We're tied 4-4. So on the next turn, I want to prevent my opponent from using Quick Search to get another boss's orders and bossing up my other Gardevoir. Because if that happens, I basically lose. So I choose to attach a Psychic Energy to my benched Monkey Dory and play Iono. We each draw 4. I Adrenabrain 30 damage from my Screamtail onto the Charizard to try and set it up for a Drifloon play later in the game. So Drifloon needs to do 300 damage to knock it out instead of 330. Alright, Psychic Embrace 2 more onto my Screamtail. It now has 50 damage on there. And I'm going to Roaring Scream for a 100, taking out their Hoot Hoot on the bench, trying to limit the amount of cards they can search out. So now my opponent can really only use Pidgeot to search for cards, rather than, evolving into a Noctowl, getting 2 cards, and then evolving and then using Quick Search to get another card. So my opponent Quick Searches for a card. I could lose here to another boss's orders, or a counter catcher. Since I'm at 3 prizes, my opponent's at 4 prizes. Yep, boss's orders, my Gardevoir. And Burning Darkness onto Gardevoir. They go down to 2 prizes to my 3. On my turn, I'm in tough shape. I don't have any Ralts on the field. I don't have any Gardevoirs here, so my priority is going to be to get another Ralt on the bench ASAP. I'm going to use Artisan. I believe there is another Ralts in the deck, because I do play 3. So I'll play Artisan, grab that Ralts, put it on the bench. And my opponent, since they're at 2 cards remaining in prizes, this would be a good time to Iono to limit their hand size. Yep, I Iono here. I get 3, my opponent gets 2. And I decide to Mind Bend the active Charizard after Adrenabrain a 20 more damage onto it. And now their Charizard is confused, meaning they will have to flip a coin if they want to attack with it. If it's heads, they attack as normal. If it's tails, it does 30 damage to itself, and the attack fails. So we're still at 3 prizes on my side, 2 prizes on my opponent's side. My opponent elects to Quick Search for a card. Terapagos was the Quick Search card, puts that onto the bench. Let's see, they use Crispin to get 2 energies onto the Terapagos, attaching a Fire and a Psychic Energy. So they're probably going to retreat that Charizard to remove the confusion, but leaving it with 0 energy, and then attacking with the Terapagos. Terapagos does an attack called Unified Beatdown. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Pokemon on the bench, so it's doing, I think, 150, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have the card in front of me here. Alright, so on my turn, I promote the Monkey Dory with Dark Energy. I Earthen Vessel away, another Earthen Vessel for 1 Psychic Energy. So that's all my energies from the deck. My deck is empty of energies. Attach a Psychic for turn to Monkey Dory, and Mind Bend for 60. Now the Terapagos is confused. Terapagos has 170 HP remaining, but my opponent, let's see, what are they going to do? Super Rod, 3 Fire Energies. Alright, now we're doing Unified Beatdown, the coin flip, to see what happens. It's tails. So their attack fails, they take an additional 30 damage. Now Terapagos has 140 HP remaining. My opponent has 1 prize left. I have 3 prizes left. On my turn, I Arven for a rare candy and a Bravery Charm. This is a tough choice. I have 2 Bravery Charms in my deck, and I really need to get a Gardevoir out. So I'm going to choose to Ultra Ball away 2 of the Bravery Charms, which is pretty rough. For a Gardevoir, use Rare Candy to evolve my Ralts into Gardevoir, skipping the Curlia step. So what I should have done here was retreat my Monkey Dory promote Screamtail and knock out the Terapagos with Screamtail since it has 140 HP remaining. Screamtail would have done 100 damage, so that would have been 240. Richard, standing over here, right by the table, he's let me know that would have been the better line of play, because then I could have knocked out the Terapagos, and then my opponent would have needed, some way to attach 2 energy to the Charizard to take a knockout, which is unlikely. But my opponent attaches a fire energy to their Charizard. They use Quick Search for a card. Alright, Unified Beatdown again. It is Tails once more. 50 HP remaining on the Terapagos. On my turn, I am Mind Bend for the KO. 1 prize to 1 prize. My opponent just needs fire energy. There it is. And my opponent wins. So definitely on turn 8, should have KO'd the Terapagos with my Screamtail. And then the next turn after that, since my opponent would not have likely been able to put 2 energies on that Charizard to attack, KO the Knockdown on the bench for 100 damage on the next turn. So you live and you learn. On to the next.